all decisions are based on some form of comparison. We cannot look at this picture and say this person is tall or short. But when we compare him to another person, we see that he is short. Thus, all decisions are relative, not absolute. Imagine you're at an airport lounge and you're watching the TV screen and two pictures are presented. And you're asked to distribute 100 points among these ladies. 60-40, 30-70, whatever it is. Difficult? Probably not. Now you're shown 4 pictures and asked to distribute 100 points. Difficult? Probably a bit more. Now you're faced with 7 pictures. This time it requires much more time and you're probably ready to give up. Let's get back to the pair. Would you say that the pair was the easiest to handle? Obviously. Would you agree that as the number of contestants increased, it became increasingly more difficult to make a reliable judgment? Let's take a look at a problem in the real world. Your manager wants to promote you but wants you to find a replacement. So you start with a set of criteria. Here we have 37 criteria and you're asked to select those that are applicable to your particular job. You might select 10, 15, whatever the number is. Now imagine 7 candidates are presented as well. Now in the previous example where I presented pictures of ladies, I only showed you the face. I did not show the body, the walk, the talk, the swimsuits, nothing. And even when you dealt with one single criterion, that of beauty, you had difficulty deciding between the 7 candidates. How do you think you would handle 10 or 15 criteria? It's almost impossible. Additionally, there are multiple decision makers. How would you make a defensible decision? This is a 3D problem with multiple criteria, multiple candidates, and multiple decision makers. Most certainly beyond common sense decision making. Cost-benefit analysis with sub-criteria. This is a very specific application of the AHP technique. Consider typical decisions most of us face, such as bid evaluations, buying a home or a car, selecting a consultant, recruiting problems, deciding on how much insurance, site selection, such as retail outlets, scheduling priorities, etc. These types of decisions are all driven by associated criteria. The cost-benefit analysis is ideally suited for this type of problem. But to simplify the discussion, let's consider the purchase of a laptop. Here we have the criteria, here we have the candidates, and we have the sub-criteria information, which appear as data. The first thing we have to do is run the AHP evaluation to determine the criteria weights. Make sure you do not use price in the AHP evaluation. Now we have the criteria weights. Note it has to add up to 100. The next thing we do is we run the AHP evaluation on the sub-criteria and we enter the corresponding weights in these pink cells. Once this is complete, we simply look at our cost-benefit data and plot a graph. This happens automatically within our software. As you can see, the Acer and the Dell are comparable in terms of benefits. Yet, the Acer is significantly cheaper. So it is up to the individual to decide whether to go for the Acer or for the Dell Inspiron. There are a whole host of applications for this type of evaluation, limited only by your imagination. We encourage you to consider using AHP with sub-criteria when the consequences of a suboptimal decision is significant.